Hello, my name is Bambi Harris. I'm the author of nearly 40 novels. I start with that just to let you know that I've fumbled around and done a few things. I'm here to offer you another writing tip, and I hope that it helps. And today we're going to talk about covers. We're just going to lightly cover a little ground here. There's a lot to know about them, but first of all, I want to say there's that old adage about you can't judge a book by a cover. Well, the thing is, you can, because you will, and that's just life. It doesn't mean that there isn't more to it. It doesn't mean that you don't write a good book. But if, as a buyer, as anyone who frequents a bookshop, you will know if the cover doesn't catch your attention, you're not going to pick it up. The cover and the title are extremely important. It's your presentation of your package. This is my item. This is what I'm presenting you. This story is going to interest you. You are going to want to pick this up because this looks really interesting. So you will judge a book by a cover like everyone does, and especially when it comes to books, even more so than people, which is what we're referring to with the old adage. In real life, when it comes to books, you want to show something that gets people's interest. So you are going to want to you're going to want to have a cover that can either emphasize your storyline or maybe just a smidgen of what it is, maybe just like a little hint, which combines with the title. I should have brought a book for an example, so actually hang on a second, I'll go get a book cover and I'll show you. So I'm hoping these covers come up okay on this. I'm showing you these covers just as an example. I have a lot of books, so these are just a couple of examples. This one is The Missing. Hopefully you get that. The Missing itself, nice, easy title, but it intrigues automatically. And then we have A House with a cemetery in the front. This book I actually commissioned. I found a photographer on the internet, and I asked him if I could purchase it to use for my book, and then offered him a signed copy, and then I purchased outright. I recommend you do that rather than offering a commission or saying you'll get some of the proceeds, because once you start delving into that, it gets very complicated every time you sell a book in the future. So it's just better to buy it outright. Can I use it once for my cover and put like an acknowledgement in your book with your name in it, something like that. That's what I recommend. There's many different things you can try. I think there's a website called Fine Art America where there's a lot of photographers that you could buy from or make arrangements with. In this case, that's what I did here, but then I also changed the photograph around, the picture around, and I added my own background with or foreground, I should say, with a cemetery, and just gave it that overall eerie feel, which a lot of people have said, wow, that looks really interesting, and that's all you want. The Porcelain Bones, the title does it probably even more than the picture, but the picture is a beautiful painting that's over 100 years old from one of my favorite artists. But because of the title, you look at these women differently. The porcelain bones, they're porcelain skin, but they're bones, so what's happened to them? So this is where you incorporate title and cover together to give it that eerie feeling of like, what's that about? And one more example, this is The Room. This is also a painting that's very old, like a couple of 100 years old, just of a room with a partially open door. It makes the reader want to know what's in the room. Very easy title, grabs you straight away, grabs your attention, makes you want to know what the room is about, what is in the room. So those are just some examples. There are copyright laws. Obviously, you want to look into it with every picture you find. If you look it up on the internet, you can also, if there are paintings over 100 years old, you'll just look into the individual copyright laws. A lot of the time, you can use pictures off of Wikipedia if they're in the public domain. But I always recommend do your own research with all that. But usually if the artist has died over 100 years ago and the artwork is over 100 years, Usually it's allowable, but again, look into each individual picture that you find. You can also ask an artist to do something for you, a rendering of anything you want, and pay them, acknowledge them in your book. But the important thing is to find something that intrigues you, that you feel good about, and then something that you know someone will look at and really take an interest in. But combining it with a good title, which we can talk about later as well, obviously brings the whole thing to life and is the whole package. It makes people go, well, that's really interesting. So hopefully those are good examples for you. Just remember that people will look at your covers. They're not going to pick it up if it doesn't interest them. The last thing I was going to say about covers is to think of when you put the title on there, to make it big enough to play around with where you're going to put the title, like in the middle or on the top. Using the right font is very important. Some people who write a scary book think they should use a scary font, and it looks a little cheesy sometimes, so it makes it seem less credible. The best thing to do is look at as many covers as you can of like say bestsellers or books that you are personally interested in, to get an idea of how big the font is, what kind of font is used. But for the most part, a basic or a bold kind of font without too much creativity in the actual style of the font makes it more credible. So I hope that helps, and I will see you next week. If you have any questions, please post them below. Please click the like button so other people can get help with their books as well. And I wish you well. Thank you.